Good afternoon, and welcome in this session about Java on mobile, WORA at your fingertips. So for the people under 43 years old, WORA means write once, run anywhere. I'm Johan Vos, and I work for Gluon. Gluon is a company that tries to bring Java to mobile. What will we cover today? First of all, I will give a brief overview of the current state of Java on mobile and embedded. And I will give a quick demo just to show how easy it is today to create Java applications using JavaFX to create user interface, run them on desktop, and easily deploy them on iPad and Android devices. I will briefly talk about some improvements that we can do and that we are doing. I will talk about the Gluon VM briefly, and then I will spend some time talking about how you can integrate your application, your Java mobile client application, how you can integrate that with your existing enterprise or cloud software. So again, just for my knowledge, who here is considers himself rather a mobile developer? Oh, well, okay. And who is an enterprise developer? Okay, interesting. Thanks. So, the mobile transformation is happening right now. Today, more transactions start from mobile devices than from web devices. And especially the demand from enterprises to have their functionality on mobile devices is growing exponentially. And the strategy of many companies today is mobile first, cloud first. And the business that are transformed today are really moving their functionality from web front ends more and more to mobile front ends. But it's important that you can also access the backend functionality. So what is very important is a reliable mobile development platform that fulfills all those requirements. And a reliable platform, then the first one I think of is Java, because it's proven to be a very reliable, mature language and platform. So I will briefly discuss the status of Java on mobile, and all the things in bold here are just reminders for me that I have to create a slide for this. So I forgot to unbold them. So today, Java applications that are created with Java 7, they can run on iOS and Android devices. And we have IDE plugins that make it very easy to do this. Java also contains a modern UI toolkit, which is JavaFX. And it's cross-platform. It works on iOS and Android. And it allows for 100% code reuse. So not only the business logic, but also the UI components of your application can be shared across desktop, Android, iOS. There are third-party add-ons. For example, the Gluon Glisten framework allows you to create applications that are really targeting mobile devices that contain a material design look and feel framework, so that the applications don't look too much metal or desktop. And today it's also possible to access device-specific functionality via cross-platform Java API without you having to write code specifically for Android or iOS. If all goes well, I can show a demo just briefly on how we create a Java application for desktop and run it on mobile as well. If it's not going well, then there's a network hiccup. So I prefer to tell that in advance. So with NetBeans, but with all the other IDEs, you have a plugin called the Gluon plugin. If you go to Tools and Plugin, for example, with NetBeans, you can see that amongst the many installed plugins, I have a Gluon plugin. If you don't have it yet, you can get it from the NetBeans portal, and the same holds for IntelliJ and Eclipse. I have to do some updates. I'll probably do that later, because otherwise the network might go down. So once you have this plugin, you can create a new project, and in NetBeans we go to New Project, and Gluon is there on top, and we can create a single view project, a Gluon mobile single view project. We click on Next, we give it a name, for example, Hello Devoxx Belgium, and we want to have this project on Android, iOS, and desktop. We click on Finish, and the project is created. So this is just a template. So this is a basic project. It doesn't do anything fancy. But the good thing is that I can run it on desktop. And that's the first thing I'm going to do. My laptop is making lots of noise. I think it's doing the updates. So running this project on desktop gives me, well, more or less, this is an emulation of a mobile phone. This is a JavaFX user interface. Start with Glisten, the mobile framework that I talked about. We have a simple button, change the world. And if I click on that, you will see that the Hello JavaFX world is going to change into Hello JavaFX Universe. So that's fine. That's desktop. So that's not mobile yet. But the code that we have here is only 2 classes. So we have a basic view class and a Hello Devoxx Belgium class. Hello Devoxx Belgium is the start class that will do all the rest. And it will add a view factory. We have different views in Java on mobile. So it will add a basic view to the scene. And that basic view, you don't even need to know JavaFX, but you can clearly see what is happening here. We create the label Hello JavaFX. We create a button, change the world. And if the button is clicked, we have a lambda expression that will set the text of the Hello JavaFX world to Hello JavaFX Universe. So that's nice, but it would be nice if you can run this on an iOS device. In the tasks, and I already did it, I have to say whoops. In the tasks in the NetBeans project, you can see launch iOS device, for example. And if you do that, then all the code will be compiled for iOS devices, for an iOS device, and it will be installed on a connected iOS device if you have one connected via USB. And now I have to hurry because I have this QuickTime player, okay, which is showing the iPad that I have here. Yeah, you don't see that probably. So this is an iPad, and you can see the so it's either good faked or it's real. So what is happening now, and I'm going back to NetBeans, but I will try to show this iPad as well, is that all the classes are compiled from Java bytecode into native iOS code. So our Java code is compiled before it is packaged into an iOS app and before it is sent to the device. So we don't run Java on the device. It's not allowed by Apple because Java will create dynamic code and that's not allowed. But we compile it ahead of time. And if we then look at what happened at the device, so this is the iPad, the mirror of the iPad screen. And it's the same application. So if I close this, you will see again the label Hello JavaFX and the button Change the World. And if you click that button Change the World, then the text will change in Hello JavaFX Universe. So with just a single plugin in the IDE, you can easily create a Java application once, run it on desktop, and run it on mobile as well. And that was not hard, I think. The same holds for Android, but what's my excuse today for not doing it? I don't have an Android cable with me. Yeah, but that's really. So I bought this new Nexus 5X, and they have new USB cables that can be turned USB-C, I think. The problem is that the other side can't be turned yet, so we're living in the middle somewhere. So that is just a demo that I wanted to show, because otherwise it may sound like, yeah, this is all theory, but no, this is really working in practice. And on Monday, Paul and Gail Anderson gave a great tutorial on how you can create Java mobile applications using this framework. So it's being recorded. You can watch that for getting more detailed information on how to do it. Yes, sure. Native functionality, you mean? Yeah. Yes, the answer is yes, and that will be in slide. Okay, yeah, so the question was, what was the question? Yeah, right. Can you access native functionality? I don't remember the question, but the answer was yes. So the question was, can you access native functionality using these applications, for example, the GPS? And the answer is yes, you can. And I will come back to that in a slide. Yeah. Slide 17, I think. So that's the status of Java on mobile. We give the demo. Very briefly, what is the status of the Java virtual machine on mobile? Well, at this moment we use, on Android, we have JavaFX/ART, which is Java 6.7, based on the Harmony VM. But as from Android N, there's a new virtual machine /AOT compiler /runtime that Android is using, which is based on OpenJDK 8. It's better. On iOS, as I said, we use an AOT, an ahead of time compiler that will translate our bytecode into native code for iOS. We also provide the JVM, which is also based on Harmony, because if you want to execute Java code, you need a virtual machine, the JVM. But all of this is compiled before it enters the device. It's based on RoboVM, but RoboVM is done now, and it's at this moment we use a fork of RoboVM that's maintained by Moby Develop. I will briefly come back to that later. UI Toolkit, as I mentioned. At this moment we are using a UI Toolkit. We also used it before and in the future, which is JavaFX, which is it's part of the Java SDK. It's a modern and mature UI toolkit. Oracle supports it for Mac, Windows, and Linux, so it's distributed with the SDK. And Gluon supports it for iOS and Android and ARM devices. It leverages hardware acceleration. So there's lots of native code in this in JavaFX. The APIs are of course Java APIs, but the implementations use native code that's apart from Windows, it's using OpenGL or OpenGL ES to do the low-level rendering. So it's directly using the GPU of the device instead of rendering on a web view, for example, or doing software rendering. We do support software rendering as a backup, but on mobile devices, the GPU is typically relatively more powerful than the CPU. So the GPU is doing the rendering and the CPU is doing the computation. But because many mobile applications, they need very performant UI operations, and therefore the GPU is really performant. And JavaFX leverages that. Not only JavaFX on mobile, but also JavaFX on desktop. So that's a great framework for using on GPU-enabled devices. The Java APIs and the native code for this platform-specific functionality are all part of JavaFX. We don't only have JavaFX on mobile, we also have it on embedded. The signages that you see here at Devoxx are using JavaFX for ARM. And it's the same code base, it's 100% the same code as the code that's used in Mac or on Android and iOS. So as a consequence, applications that you write on for embedded, you can test them on desktop, run them on embedded, or run them on mobile with a single code base. So I think that's very convenient. For example, the testing, you can do that on desktop. You don't have to test on devices. If you saw, and that's what I always do when I give a demo, I first run the application on desktop, because typically if you have errors, you will see them on desktop. And the development lifecycle is much faster on desktop than on embedded devices, for example. Okay, then we go to the mobile UI library providing the material design look and feel. This is a component that Gluon created, and it's called Glisten. Glisten, they actually say. I don't know why, but all the names in the Gluon products were originally chosen by me, and they were physical names like charm, charm down, charm up, and particle, and so. But nobody liked it, and they removed it and they gave it like Connect and CloudLink names, and so only the Glisten name, which is not a physical name, is still remaining. Anyway, that's the library that allows you to create shiny applications using that conform to the material design specifications of Google. So you see here two examples of how some of the elements can be used in a mobile application. So there are many widgets that are taken from JavaFX and they are styled a bit differently using CSS. So those of you who know JavaFX know how easy it is to take an existing component and change some of the CSS code and have it then look differently, more applicable to mobile devices, for example. And apart from starting the existing JavaFX controls, we also have a number of mobile-specific controls, like the up bar and what's it called, the toast and the floating action button, and many more. And we also have support for views, lightweight views, because you have to switch fast between different views. We support FXML, which is the rendering language for updating, for defining user interfaces in JavaFX. You can write them in a declarative way using FXML, or you can program them. We have many transitions that allow you to move from one view to another in a more or less animated way. And we support different layers. For example, a typical dialog doesn't really work on mobile, but you can add different layers there. Back to the question we had earlier. Device-specific functionality is indeed supported. We have a library, it's called Charmdown. It's an open source project. Many of the code from Gluon is developed in the open source. And Charmdown contains a list of services that implement native functionality. So we have a cross-platform Java API that is conformed to the Java patterns and the JavaFX patterns. So we try to have a very familiar API for developers to access those functionality. Because I forgot to say this in the beginning, but I think one of the reasons why I really believe in Java on mobile is because there are 10 million Java developers. I always used to say that there were 9 million, but then Yolande from Oracle, who holds the Java handle, corrected me, and she said that as of yesterday there were 10 million Java developers. It's a huge developer base that can now write applications for mobile devices. So what we try to do is to make it easy for them, so that we try to make the APIs very familiar to the existing Java and JavaFX APIs. And of course, the implementations of those native functionality are very different. But you just program against the cross-platform API. So here you see a list of services that are already supported. The list is growing, and it's not only Gluon that's doing this, but there are contributions from the open source community that are adding functionalities. IDE plugins. When I talk about that, we want to have that we want to make it easy for existing Java developers to use this framework and to create Java applications using their existing skills and patterns. Then the most important thing that comes to mind are the IDE plugins, and we support with Gluon the 3 major IDEs. So we have plugins for IntelliJ, NetBeans, and Eclipse, and these plugins, they will take care of everything from writing the code to deploying it to the app stores. So they will make sure that the JavaFX runtime for iOS or Android is there. They will do the build. They will include the required libraries. For example, Glisten, if you want to make it Shiny application. They will do the AOT compilation. And they will then deploy it on the native devices or on the simulators. And you can also create the native applications and packages that you then can upload to the App Store or the Play Store. I sometimes get questions: is it allowed by Apple? Yes. So we uploaded a few applications already, and none of them was rejected. And there are more applications out there than I am aware of, because we don't know what everyone is doing. But we never heard a complaint from a user who said my application is refused here or there. Of course, you have to apply to the Apple ethics, of course. So if you do illegal things, then it's not allowed. It's very hard for me not to make jokes about new illegal stuff in the US today. So those plugins are available for NetBeans, Eclipse, and IntelliJ. Talking about the US, there's a conference coming up in the US, which is Devoxx US. And I do recommend all people to go there, because it's a great conference with great speakers. So now that I did some promotion for Devoxx US, maybe it's time to introduce the Devoxx US chairperson for this year and the Devoxx Belgium chairperson, Stefan Janssen, who wants to make a very cool announcement about Devoxx and Gluon. Thanks for joining me, Stefan.
Thank you. Thanks, Johan. So yeah, what Johan did, he's a very modest guy and he likes to do some dry jokes as well. But what he really did with his team is he developed a very nice application, the schedule application for Java 1. And what's really cool is that they actually open sourced it, right?
Yep.
And because it's then open source, then, well, you can even see it on the title. It's a huge opportunity for Devoxx actually to take and rebrand that into a Devoxx mobile app. So what we're going to try to do is, well, first of all, they already did all the work. They interacted with our REST interface using the CFP, so they already were showing all the speakers and so on. Then we had this nice selection of the world, which they've already done as well. I mean, you guys are really stars in JavaFX and so on. And the idea is really to move forward with this, as hopefully probably next year, Devoxx Belgium, you'll be using this one instead of the ones we have now. Now, it's still depending on a few features, like, for example, push notification. It was on your list, but it's not there yet today, I believe, and it's probably a matter of weeks or so, but by next year we'll have it. Because we use push notification, if I change something in the schedule in our CFP Scala Play application, then it actually does a push notification to the mobile app saying, hey, you need to update because that talk changed or was rescheduled. So that's a critical one we need. But the beauty, of course, and you've already mentioned it in your talk here, is that as a result, as a Java developer, I can now maintain it because you probably saw at the opening keynote, there's a lot of people involved in the MyDevoxx. We have a developer for Windows, we have one for Android and iOS. And for example, the guy of iOS, he's moving from Geneva to Canada. So he had other things on his mind than changing or fixing a few bugs. So we had some bugs to go, oh, man, Devoxx Belgium is closed. And he was just on a plane going to Canada. And I'm assuming a lot of other Americans are going to be moving with a plane to Canada. But that apart or aside. So I want to be a bit more in control, and definitely like Kat from Vox, she's a Java developer. She wants to help out as well. So just one code base, and we can run it on Android and iOS. Windows, I think are you covering that? Or?
We get questions about Windows Mobile every month, and then our answer is if there's enough interest, we will cover it.
Yeah. What I knew, I haven't looked at the stats yet, but last year we had 88 people using the Windows app. I don't know for this year, I still need to ask it. So it's marginally small compared to the number of people we have. And the guy running the Windows app, he's very, very responsive, always on late, so we might just stick to that one. But I'm really excited about that. Johan, thank you very much for your support. And you know, I respect you and what you're doing. It's like, this is like crazy stuff. So congrats.
Okay, thanks a lot, Stefan. And it's the first time that you call me a modest guy. So I'll remember that. But yeah, it's really important to hear this. People want to use Java on mobile, not only because they want to create a single code base, but also for the maintenance. If you create an application in Android or iOS, it's typically outsourced to other companies, and then you need to maintain it, and the company already moved forward. Or so that's something that we often hear. Having said that, we're not ready yet. What you saw was really working, and much more can work. But we are still improving. So at this moment, we support Java. Well, as I said, we're Harmony based, which is Java 6.7. Harmony is a VM that's end of life. It has a long history, which we're not gonna going into now. But it will never reach Java 8 compatibility. So we are working with Gluon on the Gluon VM, which will be a Java 9 VM, which leverages OpenJDK Mobile. The OpenJDK Mobile project is an effort by Oracle, where they port the OpenJDK classes and the virtual machine to mobile operating systems in general. So it is leveraging the code from OpenJDK, so it's 100% the same code. For desktop and for server and for mobile devices. So that is then really write once, run anywhere. At this moment, the AOT, so the compiler that compiles the bytecode into the native iOS code, is based on RoboVM, but we already have our own AOT compiler that will be part of the Gluon VM once we release it. It will contain performance. Apart from Gluon VM, we will also work on performance improvements in the graphics layer and in other parts. And we will work on even better tooling support. We have really very cool stuff in the pipeline. We just have to decide on priorities. So I mentioned it a few times, how we use the Java virtual machine on Android and on iOS. Just to make it clear again, on Android, you have a Java application, you have with libraries, you have a JavaFX runtime, and the Android tools will combine this into your native application on Android. On iOS, it's more or less similar, except that we have this AOT compiler in between that will translate all the code, so not only your application, but also the libraries, the JavaFX runtime and the Java runtime. It will ahead of time compile those into a native application. And with Gluon VM, because we want to overcome the limitations of Harmony, we will be based completely on OpenJDK 9. And so that means that we will support not only all the classes of JDK 9, but also all the patterns, like the lambdas and the streams and the modularity. This is what we will support in the Gluon VM. And the architecture then looks this way. So we have the Java 9, the JavaFX runtime, and your application. The Gluon VM will do the ahead of time compilation of all those components and will then make it a native component. Okay, so the problem when I prepare presentations is that I think, okay, I have to spend 5 minutes here, 7 minutes there, and then you see how many time that's left. So then I always have to do the backward calculation, because I have now 34 minutes left, so that means that I have 26 minutes done. Then we are right on track, perfect. That's 34 minutes. So is it? So when you get to 30 minutes, it becomes more complicated, because then you don't know is it minus or plus. Anyway, so that is currently the situation on the mobile part. Yes, question. Okay, so the question is, here remember that RoboVM had support for lambdas, but that was back in the days. That is true. RoboVM, the RoboVM AOT compiler will compile your lambdas into inner classes. So while you're restricted to the Java 7 APIs, you can use lambdas. For iOS and for Android, you can use them as well, because our build tools, so the plugin, uses another project which is called Retro Lambda, and this one will inspect your classes and your jar files, the jar files that you depend on, and will also replace the lambda expressions with the inner classes. Actually, those who paid good attention to, so this is not just a black screen, it's me doing escape. If you look at the sample I showed, we have here a lambda expression. So when you click on a button, this expression is triggered. So we set the text of the label to Hello JavaFX Universe. So lambdas are supported in Java on mobile because RoboVM and MobiDevelop support them, and because we support them in the build tools as well. And that's very important, especially who of the audience has experience with JavaFX development? Okay, nice. In JavaFX, there's lots of, there's many APIs that really make use of lambda expressions. There are lots of single abstract method classes, and it would be lots of boilerplate code if those lambdas were not available. So that was critical for us to have lambdas supported in Java on mobile. And I'm glad we already have it. So streams at this moment is possible if you do Android deployment, but on iOS it's not supported yet, and that's a pity. But streams are already working on if you deploy your application to Android N, because we leverage the existing Java runtime on Android there. There was really a very, very cool demonstration of this at Java 1 by Sean Phillips, who is a contractor for the NASA. And they have this space trajectory application where they predict paths and orbits and try to find the best orbit for launching satellites and so. And this application is he had this application for the desktop. It's made lots of use of streams. So he said, I won't be able to do this on mobile, but well, because as of OpenJDK, Android N, it can be used on Android devices. He modified his application using Gluon Mobile, and he ran it on a Pixel tablet, and he was blown away. He was amazed how fast it was, and so that's, I think, a great reference case that the NASA is using this for doing deep space missions. So, as someone said, above flight level 35, pretty much everything is running Java. So that is for the front end, which is very important, that you can create Java applications on mobile. But mobile applications do not live by itself. Well, some do, but not all of them do. Who's playing Pokemon? I didn't mean right now. I just meant who's playing Pokemon in general. Okay, much more than, yeah. So even Pokemon is an application that really requires lots of data interactions with data on the back end. Business applications, of course, if you make a reservation for a train, or so, when you do that for mobile, that needs to integrate with a backend. It's hard to think of applications that do not integrate with backend applications. And then there are some requirements. Data need to be synchronized with a remote backend. Imagine that your device crashes and you had 150 Pokemons, and if they were not backed up, that would be a disaster. So data need to be stored on the backend. And by the fact that more people are now laughing and nodding than that we're saying that they were playing Pokemon, I have doubts about the trustworthy of the audience. So that is, mobile applications need enterprise functionality, at least data persistence and storage. But if you look at it from the other way, it also is true. Enterprises need mobile functionality, and there are many companies that provide some enterprise functionality and that have a website for it. For example, you have an e-commerce shop, and you sell some stuff, and your customers say, yeah, that's fine, I can buy things online, but today I'm not really using my laptop anymore, I'm using my tablet or my phone, so can you please provide this functionality for mobile as well? Or you have reservation systems where people want to say, yeah, I want to have this seat on an aircraft, for example. More and more companies are facing demands from their users to offer the same functionality that they offer on the web, also on mobile devices. And then it's often the red alarm lights that go off in the company, because mobile is still a bit strange. So they think that mobile, that's for playing Pokemon. And now we need to do serious things on it, but we don't have the knowledge in-house to do this. So what often happens then is that it's being outsourced to mobile-specific companies that do something. But if then in 1 year later the company adds some new functionality, for example, you can now store items in a cart or apply discounts and so. And then the mobile developer said, yeah, sorry, I switched to a new framework. Meanwhile, so if you want to have this functionality, you need to upgrade to the new framework. And that's frustrating for many enterprise developers who love stability and peace in their software stack. So therefore, I think it's good that you can use Java on the mobile client as well, because your existing Java knowledge that you can use on the enterprise can also be used to create the mobile applications. So having your functionality from enterprise exposed not only to a web frontend but also to mobile frontend is, I think, a big requirement these days. Now you can say, okay, if I have Java on the mobile client, then it's easy, because then I will just make a REST call to my backend. But typically, if you, for example, the example of the shopping cart, if you want to buy something, you actually request a new page, and the average size of the page is huge. So maybe you do a REST request and you get lots of information back. That's nice, but on mobile you're not going to render all this information, so you don't want it, because downloading even although bandwidth is increasing the whole time, it's not for free. So you want to limit the amount of data being downloaded. So you don't want those big objects. So what do? You make a REST call and you add a query parameter, for example, mobile equals true. And then at the server you need to check this. Oh, if mobile equals true, then I have to not put the name of the category and so on. I'll just give the ID and a description or so. And then the mobile developer says, yeah, but I want some specific functionality. For example, I know where the user is. So if I pass this information, for example, location is X, Y, then maybe the backend can say, oh, we are also going to send you the location of the most nearby shop. So you have then mobile specific code. But then your code depends on this mobile parameter, and it's not going to work for the web frontend anymore, and you will have exceptions all over the place. And that's not what you want. So while the functionality on mobile and on the web is the same, it's still not it's not good, I think, to directly call the enterprise functionality for mobile devices. It's not only me who is saying this, but in the mobile industry, you have something like an MBAS, which is a mobile backend as a service, which is the middle layer between the mobile devices and the enterprise functionality. And this MBAS deals with the typical mobile issues. For example, well, not only the size of mobile data, but also connectivity losses, versioning, what if transaction support, what if you buy something and then you're in a tunnel, so you lose the connection, but the money is already off your account, and so on mobile you still have much more constraints than on desktops. So the mobile backend as a service is, in the mobile enterprise industry, something that's being used for making the life of mobile developers easier, and also making the life of the enterprise developers easier by removing some of the boilerplate code that's required for circumventing all these edge cases. So with Gluon we have an MBAS which is called Gluon CloudLink. We're working on it, and some of the functionality is already available, and you can even download it from the website. And we plan to release it by the end of the year. Who wrote this slide? That's probably someone who wants to put some pressure on me, who said it will be available by the end of the year. So it will be there. And in this in our MBAS we provide functionality like, for example, Stefan was asking for push notifications. That is something that, well, you can't do on the device only. You need to have some backend for, and so that's something that we're working on, supporting push notifications, contextual information, it's much more readable on the big screen than on my screen. So the geolocation is also something that you have available on mobile and that you can leverage on the backend. So this information is seamlessly sent by the mobile device to CloudLink, and your backend application can leverage this, and then you can use it to make decisions on, for example, we want to send a push message to all the people that are in this region, but also maybe only people who opted in for this or this. So you can apply some custom logic on this. So without going into much detail on all the different aspects of the mobile backend as a service, in general, if you want to have a middle layer between your mobile application and your backend, like Gluon CloudLink, you need somehow to access this. And and it's typically done in this industry, offer two options. You can have the public Gluon CloudLink, which is a cloud service. It's a multi-tenant cloud service. So if you create an application and register it there, it will keep all your data and your functionality and your configuration and your users in a separate, isolated database. It's a multi-tenant service. But for many companies and organizations, that's not safe enough. JavaFX, and probably most of you who are working with JavaFX know that, is often used in healthcare, in finance, and in security, and in telecom, and privacy and security is extremely important there. So they don't want to go to a public cloud. They want to have the same functionality, but then local, on-premise. So that's why we have Gluon CloudLink on-premise as well. And how do you connect your existing enterprise functionality with your mobile applications via Gluon Cloud? Well, that's typically done, and Gluon CloudLink does that as well, via connectors. So you can specify, for example, a REST connector, and you can specify that if this data is changed on the client, then I want to that this REST handler is triggered. So, and this REST handler is then running on my backend. Vice versa, if your data on the backend changes, you call Gluon Cloud, and this will then synchronize that new data to the devices that are connected, or it will update devices once they come online. So that's real-time synchronization without enterprise developers having to take into account, wait, but that device is not online, so I will remind it when it comes online that it needs to synchronize this part of the data to this version or so. So that is how, in general, Gluon Cloud works. I will give an example, but the example that I will give today, and I'm pretty excited about this, is running on the Pivotal Web Services. So are there Spring developers here? Okay, so then I've really exciting news for you. So developers that are using the PWS services, the Pivotal Web Services, which is a platform for running cloud-native Java applications, now as of today, has a new service, and that is Gluon CloudLink. So you can use CloudLink now in your applications that use Pivotal Web Services. So we are extremely happy that Pivotal wants to have Gluon CloudLink, and it allows mobile developers to easily share their mobile data with everything created with PWS. And it also allows existing PWS users to share their functionality with new mobile applications. So if you create an enterprise application and you want to run it on mobile, then this is, I think, a great solution for you. We are working with other cloud and backend providers on similar offerings, because we want to make it as easy as possible for existing enterprise developers to create mobile applications and to share functionality and data there. So, as an example, we created a simple whiteboard application, and in this whiteboard application, you just give in some text, a title, and you click the add button, and it will then appear on the website. And I will actually show how this goes. So I go to the website and see, and now, there is network. So if there's no network now, then I just go back to my slides, and I pretended that it's real time. So I will create a new whiteboard entry from the Devoxx talk in room 7. I will edit, and you see it's being added to the website. That's nice, and you can remove it from the website. So that is a simple application that we created. That's a PWS application that is using the Spring Boot, and it's a standard web application running inside PWS. So it's a front end and a back end. The back end is storing the entries in a database, I think in a Postgres database, and the front end is rendering them in this nice website that you saw. So the code snippet that handles the creation of new items is shown like here. So this is a regular Spring Boot application that can be accessed by a web browser, and as you can see, we pass one parameter title, and we call then service.createItem van title, and service is our extremely complex backend functionality that will store this in the database. So that's easy, but that's of course web only. Now we will show how this works on mobile as well. Is there someone called Nandini in the room? No? Okay, then I will give a demonstration that's hopefully gonna work. We will now apply the same functionality, but on mobile devices. I'm not gonna create the whole mobile application right now, because it should already be running. But I will start the application on mobile if I can get my quick time back. So it's always tempting to click on. You don't see the quick time thing. Ah, how comes? So what are you actually seeing there? Where did you see this? I don't see that on my screen. So I really wonder where that comes from. Is that my presentation? Okay. Okay. Did you see the website when I showed it? Okay. Weird. I want to see that in the recording about what happened there. That's weird. So, okay, we have this application. I believe it's called Whiteboard. Yeah, so it starts here. You see the items, those items are retrieved from the PWS service. So what I will show now, and I will try to put this on the same screen at the same moment. Are you still seeing this? Okay. So the title is I will send to mobile. I add it. And if you go to the to the iPad, it's been added there as well. So similarly, I can go to the iPad and I can type from mobile. I'm extremely stressed, so I might make a typo. Okay. Whoa. That's stress. Okay. Right. So that's that should now be sent to the backend. We're not really web front-end developers, so for our web application, you have to reload the page, and then you see from mobile. But we're enterprise developers, so when you delete it from mobile, I will send to mobile. You see that the mobile application is updated immediately as well. So that worked end to end. Right, so that's the demo. I will now show the different pieces of the architecture that will explain what exactly we did. So we go back to the presentation. Okay, you're seeing the presentation now, and I'm seeing the presentation. So what we added to the existing backend application was the CloudLink and the mobile devices. So it may be a bit overkill for this very simple application to do it this way, but it demonstrates the usage of an MBAS in the middle. I will zoom in on the bottom part of the new part of the application. So CloudLink is the bridge in the middle between your Spring Boot web application or any enterprise application and the mobile devices. And we have three arrows there. So first of all, the top arrow, start with the bottom arrow. If you add some data using the web application, we will use this arrow to push that data to Gluon CloudLink, and Gluon CloudLink will then send it to the mobile devices. If the mobile device adds some data, it will update Gluon CloudLink, and the data is then pushed to the backend application. That's the flow of the data, and I will show the code snippets for those two use cases. And in the end, I will show the code that's required at the mobile device for making sure that this is in sync with Gluon CloudLink. So we now have something in the middle. So we need to make sure that the front end and the back end can work with CloudLink, and we need to make sure that the mobile device can also work with CloudLink. And then we don't care about connectivity loss or about versioning of data or so. We just update and we will trigger it when there's something changed. So I will now very briefly show how you can configure a PWS service using CloudLink. I will tell you what you have to do for telling CloudLink that the data need to go to this Spring Boot web app, and I will then show the code. So in the Pivotal PWS marketplace, you have applications and you can add the service. You can choose from a number of services, and if you choose for Gluon CloudLink, you will see that there's the Gluon CloudLink service. As I think as of today, it is available in the marketplace. You select the plans, unless you like us very, very much. You start with the free plan, and you add that to your plan. You then can manage this instance. So a service instance is then created. You can manage it by clicking on Manage, and then we will come to the Gluon CloudLink portal where we recognize you and where you can add an application. For example, you add a whiteboard application, and you will then be given a key and a secret. The secret is extremely hard to read, but that's probably on purpose. Then you have to configure CloudLink, which is with an application that you can download, the CloudLink dashboard, and you log in using the credentials that have been created for you. So you have to type over the password that's extremely hard to read, and you configure a REST connector for this, because we want to trigger our backend application if we have new data. Configuring the REST connector is done by supplying a URL. So please remember the whole URL there, or just the end /CloudLink. And that will make sure that that this part is working. Then that if there's new data from the mobile to the CloudLink, that the data is then sent to the web app. Now, if new data is added via the web application that we showed, what we did before was just adding this to the local service and storing it in Postgres probably. But now we also need to tell Gluon CloudLink about it. So the code snippet that we had changes a bit. So before we just had, we have this post method where we pass a title. We not only create the item on the service, but we also tell the CloudLink service that's now accessible in our instance to add the item. So CloudLink service.add_item. The implementation for this is as follows. This is a bit verbose. It can be much smaller, but just that you see what is actually happening. CloudLink understands, for example, JSON, so you can send JSON to it. So what we do is we create a JSON object using JSON generator for this item that we want to add. So we add the title and we add the creation date. And then we ask for the payload of the JSON object, and we create an HTTP entity, and then we want to make a REST request to CloudLink. It's very important to use the right credentials and so the key and the secret, because we use OAuth to sign this request, and we post that request to the CloudLink endpoint that's been defined, and we call this path for telling we want to add new data to a specific list. And the list is called items. So this is part of the path. And then CloudLink knows, okay, for this application, it's in the key and secret in the headers. I need to add data to the list called items. And it will then send it to the local application. The other way around, if we add an item from the mobile application, Gluon CloudLink will give it to us. And remember, the URL that we showed when configuring the REST endpoint was something like CloudLink list and then items. So this one will be called by Gluon CloudLink when new data is available. It will call the list items at and then the name of the new an identifier of the new item that we created. We got it as JSON, so we read the JSON. We read the JSON object, And we create the item based on the JSON object, and then we call again the service.createItem method. So we use the same backend functionality to create items. So the REST handler is different, but the backend functionality is the same. So we reuse our existing enterprise code, whether the item is created from mobile or from desktop. Finally, what do we need to do on the mobile client to make sure that we can read this data and add items? It's actually very simple. We create a Gluon client using a Gluon client builder. So this code runs on your mobile application. We use the builder pattern here. We pass it our credentials. That's again the key and the secret that we got from a CloudLink when we created the application. And we tell it in operation mode cloud first, which means that if it says no connection, but it has a stored version of our data, it will use that one, and otherwise it will use it will try to get the data from the cloud first. So you can also have local first, and then it will only go to the cloud if it doesn't have it yet, but cloud first is recommended actually. And then on this client, we use this client to retrieve a list. And we tell the client, create a list data reader, which is called items. So it will get all the items from that list. And it's very important that you see those sync flags here, because what they say is read through, write through. And the result is an observable list. And those of you who know JavaFX know that in an observable list, you can listen for changes. So if the backend added an item to this list, then CloudLink will automatically send it to this Gluon observable list, and every listener to that code, for example UI elements, will be notified about this. Vice versa, if you add via the user interface an item to that list, you don't have to write any specific code. This code is going to do everything for you, because we know, so Gluon CloudLink and the client library know that the list is changed, you added something, and you specified list write through, so that item will automatically be sent to CloudLink, and CloudLink will send it to your REST backend. So you don't need to write code for detecting changes on the mobile client. That's all done by the observable list and the built-in detection of a change in a list. So that was I think maybe pretty fast going over the both the mobile part of mobile applications and the enterprise part of enterprise backend applications. We suggest to try it out. It's pretty new, but and we're still making it better. But it's at this moment, I think, well, there are many applications already on the App Store and Play Store using this. Have a look at the samples, and yeah, make sure to try it out and to give feedback. So in summary, we really believe that Java is now really ready for the mobile market. Technology is there. With the plugins, it's extremely easy. Performance is already good. We are committed to make it even better. And with Gluon Mobile, it's easy for existing Java developers to create Java applications that look like native Java applications that use hardware-accelerated rendering. And Gluon CloudLink is the bridge between the mobile applications and the cloud enterprise world. And you can use it to connect to any enterprise system or any cloud system. And we're very happy to have Pivotal supporting us by offering Gluon CloudLink as a service in the Pivotal web services. And that gives me 2 more minutes for Q&A. Yes, question there. Yeah, so the material design, the code is the same, but the CSS styling code on Android and iOS is slightly different. But I'm not the UI expert of the company, but it seems that there are many companies that prefer to have a consistent cross-platform brand, so that they want to have their application on iOS and Android looking very similar. If what we and I can't speak for my colleague who's doing the UI part, but the difference, you can have different style sheets for iOS and Android. At this moment, our style sheets do not differ too much, but they can differ more. And if we don't do it, probably someone else can do it. We have customers who are using their own style sheets for specific iOS look and feel, for creating a specific iOS look and feel. Sorry, I had to repeat the question. The question was, at this moment, your iOS application looks material design as well. Can you also style it to look it like more like a native iOS application? And in theory, yes, you can. But we focus on the material design look and feel. More questions? Yes. How about pricing? Good question. So our philosophy is we want to make everything. We want if you're a developer and you want to spend time, then you don't have to pay anything. If you're a company and you want to get support, then you don't have to worry about your time. So we want to make sure that developers can work with everything for free without paying. And if you want to use it in a commercial product, then we appreciate the license. So what you saw in the mobile applications is that with the free version of Gluon Mobile, if you start it up, you will get the screen application created by with Gluon Mobile, and it's fine. So you don't pay for this. You can get all the functionality and run it on mobile devices. If you want to get rid of that next screen, you buy a license. And then you get commercial access to it. You also get hotfixes, SLAs, and so on. But then you have to pay a license, and that initial next screen doesn't appear anymore. But if you are just playing with the tools and you want to find out how does it work, and so then you don't have to pay a license. Then you just use the free version, and to convince yourself that this is really working for you. The only thing is, you get the screen that I got as well, and you have to click the OK button. Yes?
What about testing, unit and integration testing, in combination with this CloudLink? How does that work?
Yes. Question is, what about testing in combination with CloudLink, so unit and integration testing? At this moment, I know some people are doing testing with, I forgot, is it Jammy or TestFX? Which is a JavaFX-specific testing framework. Unit tests can be done as well. It's important to mention that our build tools are based on Gradle, which already support testing in the life cycle already. So that should work. But the cloud testing is a very interesting remark. And when I said that we are improving our tools, that is one of the things that's in the pipeline. Okay, I got here the time's up message for a few minutes already. So thanks a lot for attending. If you have more questions, that's our website, that's me, and feel free to ask and try it out. Thank you.